Hi, welcome back to Newtown Orchard. I don't think we're at the orchard.
I'm John,
And I'm Katie.
and we want to share with you our trip to Cape Cod and some of the most beautiful landscaping that's around the resort and around the cottages here at Cape Cod. So come along, let's show you what they've got here. We're going to start at the resort. We're going to walk around and look at some of the plants, some of the landscaping that they've got here. We found out that Cape Cod is actually in zone 7A. That's pretty close to what we have back in Missouri. So it gives a lot of options that some of these plants we might actually be able to bring back with us and grow back in our area.
Actually, we're in zone 6B, and so 7A would be just a little bit south of where we are. And you would think Massachusetts should be a lot colder, and it is. It's a lot colder. Their season is different than ours. The zone has more to do with how cold it gets in the winter. So their first frost date and last frost date is different, but it is much more temperate weather-wise than you would think of, like Boston or New York, that may have much more snow than we get in Missouri.
So come along, let's show you what we got.
So one of the first things we noticed when we got to Cape Cod were all of the hydrangeas. The weather here, because they're on the coast and it's got so much moisture in it, these hydrangeas are just growing beautifully. Of course, I've never seen them this pretty, but we don't have full-time landscapers or a team to take care of them constantly. They are all just getting ready to bloom, and I bet you they will be in full display by the 4th of July. That's just in a few weeks. One of the intriguing landscape designs they have here is the use of boxwoods to frame other plants. I'm not a real fan of boxwoods. I think they're kind of boring, but if you look at it the way they have here, they have the steady boxwoods that are kind of confining that spirea. These Japanese spirea can get a little bit leggy and wild, so they use the boxwoods to confine them, and I like that look. Over here, these are all heucheras or coral bells. I don't know what variety it is. Coral bells are a shade-loving plant, and they don't get too tall, but they do get wide. They will reseed themselves if needed to. But look, there's some purple flowers that are sticking out. Those are salvias, and I don't see many salvias anywhere else in the landscape. So it could be these were deposited by a bird, or it could have been here a long time ago and they just didn't clean them up. But these coral bells are just stunning in this big broadcast. This is an annual planting bed, and it's anchored here by a Japanese snowball viburnum. Now that's what my app says. I use a plant app with my phone, and I've never seen one with such big trunks, but that's what the app says it is, and I know that's what the flowers look like to me. So maybe it's just a variety I'm not familiar with. This tree looks like it was probably in full bloom about a week or so ago. There's some spent flowers on it. The use of color on this walkway just gives us some really great ideas of what we want to do with along our driveway at our home. They have this line that's anchored with this tall green grass and then a short purple grass. I don't know what varieties they are. They just give a little stability to the end, to these flowers. And then the geraniums are red, white, red, white, red, white. And they just draw your eye all the way to the end of this walkway. The other end of the walkway is anchored here by a catmint and then another purple ornamental grass and this very cute little Japanese maple tree. Isn't that just adorable? So this is a lavender plant, and lavenders are great to use just in your general landscape. when you walk by during your garden tour, just walking down the path, you can smell the aroma. And when the lavender flowers, with those purple flowers, the combination with that yellow cypress mophead would just be adorable. If you know me, you know that my favorite color combination in the garden is purples and the lime greens. This is a cherry plum tree. Again, that's what my app says. It wasn't exactly certain that that's what it is, and the landscapers here weren't sure either. But it's right next to this very green hydrangea that's going to just have a beautiful show of white flowers in a couple weeks. And on the other side of that hydrangea is a Japanese barberry. Now the Japanese barberry starts out with a dark green leaves, and then it turns to that purpley pink. I just love that color. This is a planter bed in the front of the resort, and it looks like it's probably in transition. The mulch isn't really set up, and there's a few weeds, but and they told us that there were several beds that were in transition, getting ready for the hot summer weather here. But on the back of this bed are bruneras, and the brunera is a perennial. It's got these heart-shaped variegated leaves, and then it's got spikes of tiny little blue flowers that stick out. In the back of this are cleomes, or spider plants, and those are tall flowers, and in southern Missouri they are an annual. But the great thing about those is that they will drop their seeds and then they will reseed. So next year the planting bed might not be as manicured, but if you're okay with a whimsical flower bed, you can just let these reseed next year. And then in the front, these are just two different colors of begonias that give it a pop of color. This is another annual bed. It's got the petunias right in the front, and then some coreopsis or tick seed in the middle, and more of the cleomes in the back. This purple flower, blue flower, couldn't figure out what it was. And after using my plant app and then a little bit of internet researching, we found that it's an edging blue lobelia. And that's an annual here in southern Missouri. And I have a feeling that's going to show up in my front garden sometime this year.
So as we're walking around here in Cape Cod, we're coming across some professional landscaping, but it's absolutely beautiful. And for me, this always inspires me to turn just my backyard or my front yard into something beautiful like this, a coordination of the different colors and the different plants. So I'm going to show you a little bit of this. And so we got some hydrangeas over here that are actually in bloom. And I know depending on the hydrangea, the soil pH will actually generate different colors in your flowers. We've got a purpler flower here, we got blue down there, we've got a pinkish white here. And again on this side, yeah, these yellow flowers are actually yarrow. Absolutely, that's just beautiful. So, and again, hydrangeas, beautiful purples and pinks. So, again, even though this is professionally done, it's very inspiring on ideas I could do with my yard and you could do with yours.
Fresh mulch.
All right, yeah, and fresh mulch. That does make a difference. All right, we're gonna take a walk through the neighborhood here and look at the landscaping that people do with their individual houses.
We came across this cottage. It's beautiful. Those doves fit this yard perfectly. They got some flowers blooming, although not fully. There's a lot of buds getting ready to pop here. We've got ornamental grasses, more ornamental grasses. We've got roses just full of blooms. And again, more ornamental grasses. We have coreopsis. That'll be beautiful. I'll come back in a week. I'll bet you this place will just be glowing Goodbye, Katie's place.
Seems like everybody on on Cape Cod grows rhododendrons in one form or another. Now, my experience of rhododendron is they're about 5 to 6 feet tall. These are better than 12 feet tall, and they're huge. And this is just a few specimens. I bet there's thousands of these here on the Cape. But then again, we are on the Cape. The air is always moist. Rhododendrons like it a little humid, and it can be very humid here. And being in 7B, they have just really temperate weather here. This house has a very whimsical, almost unruly garden. It's elevated up on a septic tank, I think. There's a daisies here with a bumblebee, so that's always a good sign to see bees in your garden. That's a catmint that's been allowed to grow unruly. And these are blanket flowers, according to my app. I don't know what color, probably an orange or a reddish color is what my guess is by looking at the little flower buds. And then there's more catmint and some more plants that we didn't identify. But on the other side, against the fence, this is blue false indigo. There's 3 shrubs here, which is very interesting because you see the vegetation and the flowers on the shrubs are different. I'm assuming that one is probably the North American native variety, and then another is a cultivar, unless there's something that I don't know about them. The blue false indigo is a great plant to have in your landscape. These little flowers are just really lovely and dainty. They attract bees, they attract butterflies, they attract hummingbirds. Great pollinator pollinator plant for your landscape. So this one has lighter lilac colored flowers, and then the one next to it, the flowers are a darker purple, almost a burgundy, and you see the leaves are a little bit greener. And this next one is the same as the first one, but this shrub has both light pink and darker purple flowers on the same shrub. I was so excited to see this hosta garden here. These huge hostas are right inside the white picket fence, and they are just stunning on this side. And then on the other side of this shade garden are some coral bells, which again are one of my favorite plants. And there's some ornamental grasses in here. And then if you see here in the mulch, there's these tiny little plants, and they look to me like they're bleeding hearts. And I didn't see a big bleeding heart plant, but I'm wondering if these were reseeded from a plant that was taken out. Fun little garden.
I love little flower beds around the mailbox, hydrangeas. Oh, look, tropical hibiscus. Gorgeous. We can grow them in southern Missouri, but they'll be an annual. They can't handle our winters. I also love the fence line. And again, landscaping around the trees with some annuals and perennials. Cape Cod is absolutely beautiful right now.
Well, thank you for coming with us on this journey to Cape Cod. Until we see you again on the next video, take care.
Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends.